So this is episode 8 of the podcast, and we've got Joelle Westwood in today. She's an actress who's played in, probably one of my top 5 werewolf films coming up. But just first of all, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm in New York City right now. I'm just enjoying a nice little Saturday morning.
Yeah, is that where you live currently, or are you on vacation?
No, I live in New York City. I grew up in Ohio though, so I moved here a few years ago.
Oh, perfect. Well, what's the weather like there now? Is it good?
It's a little too hot for me. I like cold weather. I just like sweat so easily. So walking around is kind of hard, but it's nice. It's beautiful here. What about you?
Yeah, to be fair, the summer has just been red hot. It's been hotter than usual, but starting to cool down a bit now. We're getting a bit of rain, so
Oh,
that's good.
good.
Yeah. But no, we'll kickstart. We'll just start just firstly on your acting career. Like how did it start?
Well, I grew up doing musical theater. My older brother was really into plays at our community center, and so I was about 6 years old when I started acting, and then in high school I went to film and I started doing commercials and I got an agent, and then once I realized I really wanted to do this for my career, I moved to New York and I go to Fordham now. So yeah, it's been kind of my entire life, really.
Is there any plays that like famous plays you've played in, or is it just sort of been like local, pantomime sort of things? I don't know if that's what you call them over there, but
Yeah, more local stuff. I was just in a cabaret though last night with a really good friend of mine, Jared Heckman, and he's in the kind of Broadway world, and we had a few other really great singers. So I'm still kind of connected to theater, although film is really what I'm more passionate about, I would say.
yeah, I was going to say there's quite a big difference. In your theatre, you're singing, you're dancing and whatever, but in your films, it's just more like probably I presume plenty of days on set, and it's one thing at a time. So, but what's the differences like for yourself?
I think it's hard for me because since I grew up doing theater, I had to kind of make a switch to film. And then I kind of had to switch back when I was still in high school and doing plays in school. And so I think one thing that I really struggled with is just kind of keeping myself in character when I was filming something because you're breaking every few minutes and you're picking up from different spots in the script, and sometimes you're looking at a piece of tape and it's not really your co-star, and so that can be pretty difficult. Whereas when doing a play, you walk onto the stage and that's your world, and
Yeah.
everybody's in character once you're on stage, and it's a lot easier, I think, for me to get into character that way. But I definitely think that film was a little bit harder for me.
Mm. Do you have any plays that inspired you growing up to get into them things? If it, what are your favourite sort of plays or whatever you want to call them?
I think the first show that I ever did, I remember I was so disappointed. I was the worst singer and the worst actor, but I was like 6 or 7. I didn't get the lead role, and my older brother did. And I just remember like sobbing to my mom, like, how could they do this to me? And I think my mom, she's rolling her eyes, like, of course you didn't get it. But she was comforting me, like, it's okay, it's okay. And I remember from then I kind of felt this like need, this drive to just really get better. And I understood that I was not good. So I think I've had a few moments like that. Later in my life, I played a cow. I played Milky White in Into the Woods. I don't know if you know that musical, and that was humbling to say the least. And so I think moments like that where you really realize that you love the craft for itself and you're not there just to like be in the spotlight and be a lead and have everybody love you. I think that's what's kept me going and made me realize my passion for this.
Awesome. No, so we'll just talk about the film now, as you said that that's something you're more passionate about. Um, the hunting. I was in Morrison's with my partner a couple of weeks ago. We actually saw it in DVD there.
Oh,
We've just watched that a couple of days ago, and for anybody who hasn't seen it, it's quality film. The ending, the twist. The only way I can explain it is just it's crazy. But what was that like? Being on set. Peyton Hillis. I'm a big NFL fan, so to see him in that, to work with someone as big as that, what was that like
yeah.
for you?
I think that whole experience was really crazy for me because I was still a freshman in college. And so I was doing Zoom classes in between takes. But I just remember Peyton and everybody else, Mark, who's the director, were all just so welcoming and nice to me. And I think I was the youngest of the cast. And so I think they were kind of like, I was their child and they were always so, so nice to me. And I just felt really welcome. And in between shooting, I lived in Ohio. And so I got to visit my mom and stay with her and go to sleep and have her, comfort me and bring me breakfast and, all those things that moms do. And so I felt like it was the best possible way to do my first movie.
Awesome. I mean, how did that like role come about? What was the process in getting that role?
Well, I remember getting an email from Mark, and I think he had come across my website, which was so outdated and bad. And so I remember being so surprised by that. But he emailed me and he was just like, hey, I want to see you potentially playing this role. Like, would you be interested in doing a bigger role or something a little bit smaller? And I was like, I would love to do a bigger role. If I can, I might as well audition for it. And so he sent me the sides, the script, and I did the scenes, and I remember just feeling really good about it. And I was like, okay, this could be it. Maybe I'll get it. And I didn't hear back for a little bit until I was back in New York, and he called me and we were kind of talking for a little bit, and he was like, oh, by the way, you got it. And I was like, oh, okay, great. And then we kept talking and we did some other auditions with different actors, but Peyton was cast, and that was a great moment as well. So.
And obviously that's in the horror category, and I know you've done another short horror film, Run, Hide, Pray as well. Obviously, I know with some actors they set on one genre and they don't really go over to things. Is horror the sort of genre that you're mostly interested, or is it just what you was able to get at the time?
I think a little bit of both. I've always not really been a big fan of horror movies just because I'm somebody who has nightmares. I watch something and I'm scared for like days after. So I think filming horror movies, you kind of get a sense of like, oh wait, this isn't real, Joelle. It's okay. You don't have to be scared. And it kind of helped me in that way in really understanding the mechanics of a shoot and how that works. But I love doing horror movies. I'll do any genre. I don't think I'm great at comedy, but we'll see, maybe sometime in the future, but yeah.
You've just mentioned about that you're on set and you realise that they're not real, but is there a sense of when you're doing your scenes or whatever, and obviously it's a werewolf film, do you ever come home from a set, it's dark and you are checking your back like, oh, hang on, is it lurking about? Is it, do you ever get a bit into character and you get a bit?
Yeah, I mean, I think for Run, Hide, Pray, somebody chases me. I'm trying not to spoil anything, but that was scary because somebody's actually chasing you, and that's never a fun feeling. And I remember on The Hunting, we did like a nightmare scene, and everything was already set before I got there, kind of like what you were saying. Everything was darker, and I was like, okay, this is kind of scary. I could see myself having a nightmare like this, and there's like blood everywhere and things like that. So I think when you're in character, it's a lot easier to get into that mindset, but you don't want to do that too much, at least for me, because it doesn't feel good at the end of the day, and you don't want to be reliving that over and over, take after take. So I think you really have to find, a good balance between understanding that it's not real and also being in character and living in that moment.
Did you have to watch any like horror films beforehand or get to grips with any werewolf films before doing that, or did you just go straight into it?
I didn't watch any werewolf films because I felt like this was a little bit different than anything I had seen. It touches on PTSD and soldiers and things of that nature. So I did contact werewolf experts, like a bunch in the Midwest, and just kind of got what their day-to-day was like. And all of them were so nice, as per, Midwesterners are always happy to help. And so I got a sense of who those people were and kind of the cadence of the way that they talked and how they talked about the animals. And that was really helpful for me. And then once I kind of felt like I was ready, I was good to go.
Very, very crazy question to ask, but do you believe in any like supernatural things like that? Do you think there's any possibility that there is werewolves in this world, or?
Not a crazy question, because I think there's possibility for anything. I am like a strong believer in some type of mermaid.
Yeah.
Nobody believes me, but I think just as far as evolution goes, at some point, I think we had to have gone into the water just because it takes up the majority of the earth. So no, not a crazy question. I believe in it all. I just don't think we have any proof, or it's not like how we picture it in movies, you know.
No, I feel that's like the same way. I think they've got, for me, it's just crazy. I don't know how someone can come up with, a hairy man who, if you bite someone, you turn into someone. I think someone to have that thought, age time and time ago, it's
Yeah.
crazy. So they must have based it on something. That's like how I see it. And,
So you're a believer then, is what I
yeah,
think.
100%. I mean, paranormal stuff is like my bread and butter. I love that stuff. And I'm
Oh,
currently
cool.
working on something that I can't say too much because it's going to be a big thing with my journalism stuff, but it's going delving into like that paranormal side of things, not just werewolves, but like ghosts and demons and whatever. And that's going to be
Cool.
a huge announcement that'll come out. I don't want to rush it. It's probably going to be a few months maybe, but we'll see what happens with that. But
Yeah, no, let me know. I'd love to see it.
awesome. Like sort of like your favorite actors or anyone who's inspired you, like who are they? Who are they? Maybe your top three, or I don't know if you've got one set on, but
I think like all actors are inspiring in a way, like even just the people that I work with now, and just picking up on their knowledge and their background of life, I think is always great. As an actor, you're always learning. And of course, there's like the big guys like Meryl Streep, of course, is like the queen herself. I love the work that Jennifer Lawrence does. I think Leonardo DiCaprio makes really good choices in his work. I think when my generation of actors, you kind of have to pick these difficult decisions of, okay, do I get this role even if I don't believe in the project because I don't have any on my resume, or do I wait until I really like the project and I like the script and all these things, especially with new Netflix shows and things like that. I think we're kind of losing quality in cinema, honestly. So that's always something I'm looking for in an actor. Like, again, Leonardo DiCaprio just makes really good choices. I mean, not that he's like auditioning and needs roles, but that's always something that's inspirational to me, and something that I want to be doing too.
I just want to ask, obviously being an actor, it's like when you watch a film, do you ever like pick up on things and you're like, well, that's a bit like, well, if an example I'm trying to say is like in horror films, stereotypically you'll get somebody fall over while they're being chased, or when they're in the closet, the phone will ring, something like that. Do you ever like watch that and think,
I don't know, sometimes, because I think there is a benefit to kind of sticking to what has worked in the past, especially because I'm a screenwriter, and so I think it's hard not to fall into different types of story plot lines, having the character fall when he or she or they are running.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. I try to be the least amount of judgmental to all types of art, just because you never know what you'll learn or what you'll get from the experience. But sometimes I'm like, okay, that was a little cheesy, a little cliche.
Do you ever like find it, like I was going back to when I said about some actors picking like a certain genre to be in, and do you ever watch a film where an actor's new to that genre and sort of look at it like, I'm trying to find an example. I think an example for me would be Jamie Dornan. I think we know the film that he's most famous for being in, but then he was in a BBC BBC series where he was a serial killer, and you like watched it and you thought, well, hang on a minute, you're killing people now, but you was used to like whatever he's doing in the other films. It was like my mind was just like, I can't picture the same. Do you know what I mean? Do you ever get that feeling?
Yeah, I mean, I remember thinking that, and I think a lot of people did when Adam Sandler did Uncut Gems, and he was fantastic. He was great. And I think it's also the same way when you see characters in TV shows that you've loved that have run for 9 seasons, or like any of the actors from Harry Potter, because you know and you love them as a character or as a genre. But I think especially, coming up as an actor now, you want to do as many different things as possible, because you really don't want to be placed into this box of like, okay, you can only be the pretty girl, you can only be the mean guy. You as an actor, your job is to be whatever. So yeah, I've definitely had those experiences before.
Is there any films that you're currently working on at the minute? I mean, with that, if you are, you can't go into too much detail, but is there anything up and coming for yourself?
Yes, I have a few projects underway. I have one that I can't say anything about, but I did just write a screenplay with Mark, who directed The Hunting, and we're looking for older actresses to play my mom. It's, in short, basically a family drama that centers around the relationship of a mother and daughter and how Huntington's disease plays a part into that, and the psychology of that. It's called The Fear of Fire. So if you know anybody, we're looking for actors now. But yeah, I'm excited, and I hope that will get picked up soon.
If you could have a dream role in any film, what would you say that would be for you?
I don't know. I have a few that I've been trying to manifest. I don't know if you believe in manifestation, but I would love to do an action movie, be like an action hero. I think that's so fun and badass. And I eventually want kids, so I think maybe like a Disney movie would be fun to like show them. But yeah, I'm up for anything.
And just like to have a little bit of fun before we come to an end with the podcast. You're a horror director. So what horror film would you? Let's start with what horror film would you like to put together? I mean, would you it be a werewolf film, a slasher film, paranormal film? What would you like to do?
But we should make one together.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah. I'm really interested in like psychological thrillers, like nothing. I love the werewolves and stuff. I just don't think if I were a director, I would be good at that.
Yeah.
But I am good at like crazy, like psychotic
Mhm.
thrillers, things like that. So I'd be interested in like somebody going crazy. I don't know.
For me, I'd say a slasher film.
Oh,
I'm obsessed with that. I mean, not obsessed like I'm weird, but Halloween films, I think they're brilliant. Scream, even Saw. I mean, I wouldn't really say that's a slasher film, but again, that's very. So if I was to be a director, I'd probably say a slasher film. So
oh, cool. Okay.
you say your psychological side of things. Any actor, the main character, who's your main actor? So let's say the person who's going crazy, who would it be?
I don't know. There's so many good ones. I think I'm partial to women just because I think I study them a little bit more. But I mentioned her already, but Jennifer Lawrence, I think, could do a really great job. Have you seen Mother?
I have, yeah.
Yeah, but maybe she wouldn't say yes because she's already done something like that. I don't know. I'll have to think about that.
And then let's say other characters in the film, like who let's say four people, four main characters. Who are you going to put in there?
I love Viola Davis. I think she's incredible. So I would say her. I think Matt Damon is amazing. Who else would I pick? I think Timothy Chalamet gets a really good, gets her generation. So does Zendaya. I think they're great together. I feel like they've been in a lot. Saoirse Ronan is fantastic as well. I'll take any of them, honestly.
I'm trying to think. It's difficult to think. Like I've been thinking while you've been talking, but let's say a slasher. So we're going to go with a main killer.
Yeah.
Probably, I'd probably say that. I feel like Sylvester Stallone would be quite cool as just a kid. I
Oh,
don't know.
yeah, I like that.
He's one of my favorite actors as well.
Yeah, I mean, he's amazing.
I think let's go for the people who's maybe trying to kill. I think I'm going to have to chuck Jamie Lee Curtis in there just because she's icon of horror. She's brilliant. So, then it is difficult. I'm trying to think. I like Sean Penn. I think he's quite good. We might do a good job.
Yeah.
And then I don't know after that. I think.
Well, I mean, yeah, I'd watch that movie just off that. So.
No. No. Thank you for your time. It's been fun. It's been good to talk to you. And well, hopefully when the next project that comes out, we can maybe have you on again, and we can focus on that quite a lot in detail and speak about that. So.
Cool. Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. This was amazing.
No, that's all good. I'll start.